So today we have a quick spotlight with one of our clients, Goldpickers. We'll be talking with Peter and Susie, the founders of Goldpickers, about their experience working with Benmore Technologies to build their boutique two-sided marketplace. It is a custom-built two-sided marketplace for boutique resellers to find and sell vintage items, right? Ranging from toys and collectibles, musical instruments, warehouse items, and furniture. People can go ahead and post their items that they found while they were thrifting or picking and connect with interested buyers. Additionally, if you'd like to check out their experience working with our team, you can check out their case study on our website. But without much ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the interview. So just a quick intro, Peter. Do you mind just introducing yourself and share a bit about your background?
Yes, my name's Peter Kulata. I am a brand strategist. I've been working in marketing and communications a really long time. But for the purposes of like the app and stuff, huge picker, been, vintage picking all my life. So that's kind of like where everything stemmed from.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, obviously you've been picking all your life, but I guess not everyone who's been doing that wants to build a boutique marketplace, right? So I guess what was the kind of the inspiration there, aside from the picking experience, to go ahead and build this Goldpickers platform?
Well, I work with an agency, and I've been seeing over the last few years with them, time after time, results of best practices. Also, we've always wanted to have something that we can share together as a business or like a passion. And like we usually will go, thrifting on the weekends. I'm always looking at old vintage items. I have stuff all over the place. As you can see behind me, there's a ton of items on those shelves. Initially it was just going to be us selling our own collection. We have a storage unit, we have a bunch of items, and from time to time I sell stuff, and I've been doing that for years. So we were like, hey, let's make a marketplace and just kind of legitimize our hobby. And then in that process, we built a brand. We did a strategy to try to understand who our customers are and how we can align with the market and the need states, because there was a need. eBay and these other brands are very much taking a lot of profits from the sellers, even when you purchase on the website. So we were like, hey, like maybe people can sell on our site too, because we're selling our stuff. Obviously that involved a lot more development and a lot more logic and business building and things like that. But initially it was just supposed to be an e-commerce store for us.
Gotcha. And then store, and it blossomed more so into having other people be able to have their own listings on there as well.
Yeah, I mean, initially one day I just kind of came to me, Goldpickers. I don't know why, but I registered the LLC, the Goldpickers company. I told myself that I wasn't gonna make this like another like passion project. I wanted this to be a little bit more impactful, not just for me, but for anyone. And so when I started working with one of my colleagues on the strategy portion, I really just relinquished a lot of the responsibility on other people to try to see what they could envision for the brand and not be so biased. And my wife and I had an idea of what we wanted, but in that process, we realized that we're like a love brand, and we want other people to kind of be able to experience the same thing that we experienced when we were developing it. So throughout this whole thing, it's been really more about everyone else than us. It's more about the experience, and it's more about somebody getting an item, selling it, making a profit, and feeling good about it, versus selling an item and then seeing what the marketplace that they're selling on took as far as a margin. So that that was kind of like something that we wanted to solve. I'm not saying that we will, but it's something that we're interested in throwing out another option.
Yeah, and I think that comes to life in the design of the platform as well. Like it's a lot more. There's a lot more emotion. Like I don't know what the word is, but like the vibe of the platform itself is a lot different than your Mercari or your eBay, right? I feel like as an individual, someone who's on the website, it feels like it's built for you, right? As opposed to a more kind of I would say commercial experience. So that's something I think definitely does shine through. But then kind of segueing it more so into the actual development here. Obviously, kind of in our kind of conversations, we like to joke that I think you, Peter, are someone who's dangerous enough on the technical side to know kind of what you're talking about, but not necessarily on the implementation side. So, what were some challenges, kind of being someone who's non-technical going into building a platform like this?
Oh man, so many challenges. One one was a learning curve a little bit, even for me, right? Like no matter how much experience I have and had worked with apps and websites and branding and design, man, I can't even tell you how much of a humbling experience this has been. Because while I do know all that stuff, and like you said, I'm dangerous with the technical, there was a lot of unknowns. Another thing too is just my wife, she's never really experienced any type of development when it comes to a website or even a brand or even a strategy. So that was interesting. That was a little bit of a challenge. But we've been together a really long time. We communicate really well. And so even on the technical proficiency stuff, we pretty much like covered what we were good at, right? Like my wife's good at operations, right? I'm too nice, so she's better at firing people than I am. So we had some people that we worked with in the beginning, and it just didn't work out. But I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and yeah, so that was a big challenge, right? Is finding that dynamic between designing something and making sure that it's what we want, and then also making good business decisions. And sometimes like you just can't do it all yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I leaned on her to look at a situation without the lens of being technical, and kind of seeing and reading between the lines. So that's been really helpful. Also, I think it was a challenge for you too, stepping into a project that was a mess. So, and not to say that it wasn't a mess, because the people that got us to that point, they got us to that point, right? And I'm grateful for that. But it just wasn't where we wanted to be. And also, we kind of put all of our eggs into this thing. So like this is it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we didn't want to like miss out on an opportunity if it was there, even if it's a small opportunity.
Yeah. 100%. And that kind of segues into the next question as well. Like, obviously, we didn't go 0 to 1 with you guys. We came in a little bit later to kind of fix, or not fix, but build on top of the platform that was already there. What, if you can kind of think back to kind of our original conversations, what were some of those items, those different features that were not on that kind of first iteration, or weren't working the way you wanted them to be, and kind of what was that transition like, getting those implemented over time?
I think we were really bent on making sure that it didn't look, the app didn't look like it was out of box, like it was out of the box, right? Just like a software you buy with libraries that you set up and just kind of plug and play. That was something that we really wanted to make sure that the design shined through and the branding was still there. We're still on brand, right? That's important. But then somewhere along that line, we were like, okay, like this looks like our brand. We shouldn't really be caring too much about spacing and all, colors and things like that. Let's get this functional. So I think, once we made that transition, because in the beginning, we're still kind of testing each other. I've never really worked with you. You haven't worked with me. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. So we're like kind of, feeling each other out based on the scope. And then once we kind of like narrowed down that first scope, then we started, to get it looking the way we wanted to look, then we started to really focus on functionality. And now it's all functionality. Like, I think it looks amazing. It looks great. Do I think it looks exactly the way our product design looks in Figma? No. But I can tell you that it functions like a flagship application, which is what we're looking for. And I understand that like development and design are two completely different things, right? But I think the development is more important for us at this juncture. We have a really great product designer, and I think over time he'll be able to iterate and refine things. But for the purposes of using an application, it needs to be adopted and it needs to function. So I think we're there. Yeah. So that was a little bit of a challenge, right? Like the aesthetics versus functionality.
Awesome. And then also like one thing as well, you have the aesthetics, you have the functionality, we also have like the usability. And so like I know like in our kind of final push here, we're looking at how can we take what we already have and really increase and improve that user experience with different things like guest checkout, things of that nature. How would you say that impacted the overall usability of the application?
Oh, I mean, well, that was a change that we recently just made. I think it was an overhaul of what we had, but I think it's improved tenfold. I think the fact that a guest can check out now and not have to sign up is huge. We also implemented some marketing tactics like pop-ups and things like that. The biggest challenge though too, and like we've talked about this, is we're not building on Shopify. This isn't a WordPress website. This is completely custom, tech stack that you and I concocted together. So things like a CMS and those type of features, a lot of that stuff we had to kind of create ourselves. But we created the bare bones features that we think most e-commerce sites would use, that they used currently and are best practices. And then from kind of just iterating from there. But I think once we were done with the product and we brought somebody on that hadn't seen anything up until that point, and then made those tweaks, I think it was night and day, honestly. I think now it's a completely usable, functioning, appealing application. And I think this is just the beginning. I think there's a lot more things that we can do. But again, you don't want to be creating features for your customers when they're not even there, or they're not even asking for those features, right? Adoption's important, and we've talked about that a lot. But it's just how you transition to the next step, right? And so I think that's going to be the challenge moving forward. It's just like, how are we going to transition? What features are we going to roll out? Why are we going to roll them out? What's informing why we're rolling out these specific features? Mm-hmm. Hopefully that answered your question. If it feels a little long-winded.
No, 100%. I know. Also, there was kind of that beta testing period with the users in Discord. That my inclination is that might, or that kind of process might kind of be a precursor to how things look when things go live, as far as taking a look at user data, user feedback. Obviously, that was on a smaller scale, but do you think it'll kind of look a little bit like that, as far as looking at where people are using things, where people are dropping off, where kind of questions are as far as usability, and then kind of iterating that back into the product?
Yeah. Well, we're going to need users to tell us what needs to be fixed. So we'll need a dev, we'll need somebody like full-time, which we're talking about right now. But yeah, I think the beta test was decent. I think it was like, I don't know, I invited like maybe 30 people and we got about a third of that, which I think is decent. And then we got a lot of feedback. People were using the app. The Discord was helpful. For some of the boomers, it wasn't. It's really complicated. But I get that. But yeah, we got a lot of good feedback. And then also we got some support from a good friend of ours, like my neighbor, Brody, who set up a store on our site. And he was actually doing a lot of bug testing. And if you want to check out his store, it's 561 Games on our website. But he kind of specializes in like Pokemon. But he was texting me like all hours of the night about errors. And so I think that was really helpful, just to kind of get an idea of how users would use the site. But to be honest, like we haven't really had that many users. And then as far as tracking like fall offs and stuff, that's why we set up Clarity, Microsoft Clarity, which I'm seeing some sessions, but nothing substantial yet. But yeah, I think the beta test helped. I think honestly another beta test would be helpful too. Just if you go to like a V2.
Yeah.
But I think that can happen internal with like the brand ambassadors, the people that are using it. It doesn't have to be like a rollout, like a public rollout.
Yeah, 100%. And then kind of more towards our relationship and how things work. Like, how would you describe the communication, collaboration with, I guess, myself and Benmore as a whole, and the Goldpickers team as well?
You go.
So I'm Susan. I know I haven't said much, but I'm kind of like the overviewer. I like to listen and then I like to give my input. I think I have a lot to do with also that emotional piece and connecting with the customer and making sure that it's not all technicality, but because there's a lot of techniques and there's a lot of different forms and platforms and things that we have to navigate to get to where we want to be. But that piece of the relationship that we're going to talk about was really important from the very start. Just because as a therapist, I do feel like the connection and the communication and the relationship with the client is absolutely important. One of the things that I liked about our communication was clearance. So from the very start, we're very clear on where we wanted to be. And you heard us. You heard what our needs were from the beginning, and even concerns, even like the smallest conflicts that we have literally made us even stronger. So I think just being present, being on time on every single meeting, trying to meet, the weekly goals that we had. That was such a beautiful way of visually seeing where we were going to the next scope every week, what we had tackled in, what we had not. And even if we had to go back to those same things, we were very open to like navigating those things and even going through them over again, just because there were so many of them. But I think even on a Sunday, randomly sending you a message and you answering when we haven't even scheduled anything, like that was also really like he cares, that caring piece of your agency, of wanting us not be happy, but complete what you had said that you're going to follow through with. So that was that Peter and I talk about all the time. Like when we meet TJ in person, like we want to take him out to dinner. We want to like meet him. Like, he has been such a big piece of us developing this emotional part of connecting to the world with what our passion is, which is thrifting, collecting. We've been collecting forever. And we feel like you get us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And kind of some of the conversations that I've had with Peter is like, obviously myself being like tech native first, I sometimes go back into like my developer brain and I'm like, super as far as like the actual technicalities, ones and zeros. But then having to pull back and really understand and really explain, okay, this is what the drawbacks of this solution might be. This is how it interacts with the solution as a whole. I think that's where, at least for me, I try to really contribute as far as where I know I can contribute, right? Understanding that, different aspects have different priorities, especially at different stages. And the communication has always been the most important part on our side of things. So I definitely appreciate you guys saying that. And then also kind of looking forward, right? Obviously, I know we have probably like working with some things as far as the SEO right now, looking at, even some things on the advertising side as well. Like what does the next few steps look like for Goldpickers?
Yeah, no, great question. Well, we have a fully functioning app, two-way marketplace. We did this custom. So anything that we're saving as far as operating costs, we're passing back onto the customer. So what that means for the customer is that we're going to be investing heavily this year into SEO, into some marketing. We're going to get a full-time project manager. And then also, we want to get a more meaningful relationship with you on an ongoing basis. And we want to start rolling out some cool features like auction and local pickup. At this point in time, we're going to just start creating content and just start putting it out there and just see if people like it. Just me looking at different items, talking about restoring items, how to find stuff, what to look for. Maybe doing some snapshots, spotlights with some of our sellers. So we're looking to kind of invest everything that we saved in the last 9 months. We're now looking to invest into the application, and then we eventually want to make it native, right? But we need user acquisition to really inform that before we become a native application. But for the purposes of this year, it's really just to build awareness, get people excited about Goldpickers. And at the end of the day, we just want to connect people to the items they love. That's it. It's not about It's not about, you know, making millions of dollars. It's not about being the next eBay at all. It's really more about just us continuing to do what we do as far as, you know, passion of collecting, and then passing that on to other people. That's why, you know, we've been very like generous with like our fees, and tried to make it all inclusive. Really try to make it competitive with all the other markets. And like you said in the beginning of this conversation, you know, like we're not Mercari, we're not eBay. This isn't a dev, like, you know, those type of products are built by developers. There's no strategy really. It's all Google ads and paid advertising, and, you know, a development team of like 20 people. Mercari got to where they got in 5 years, and they stole 10% market share from eBay. Do I think it's a great platform? Yeah, I think you can find a lot of stuff on there. Do I think eBay is a good platform? Yeah, sometimes I think you can find some good stuff. But if you're looking for really quality, high quality items that you know that to buy, or if you're looking to sell your high quality items and get a nice profit, that's really what we're trying to solve. And you know, the name, it's in the name, right? Gold pickers. That's what we're doing. We're picking gold. So yeah.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Those
Well,
are
Yeah, you can thrift online.
You can thrift online. Yeah.
absolutely. Awesome. So I'm going to throw, of course, your links kind of in and around this post, but where can people reach out best to find Goldpickers, a brand, or even connect with yourself if they have some questions?
Yeah. If they just go to goldpickers.com, you know, it's pretty easy to remember. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. And there's a contact form if you ever want to reach out. We reply pretty quickly. We have a few people. It's a family-owned business, so it's me and my wife. But you know, maybe my mom replying to an email, might be her you know, uncle or something. So we're really trying to make this a family thing. Family-owned, American company. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, any closing remarks? Anything want to add?
Yeah. You go. You're good with closing remarks. You're better than I am. I'll just keep talking.
I will say we are looking forward to what this year has to offer. That's for sure. Now that we feel more confident on where we are, this trajectory has been very, very tough, and we feel like we've gotten to the fun part of it. So we're really excited to what the year might bring, not only with the new projects and the new ideas that we have, but also continue the relationship with you and, you know, others that have also helped us get to where we are. And yeah, we just, you know, sharing this with the world is actually extremely exciting for us. So
Yeah, awesome.
I have one thing to add to. I don't know if I'm going to top that. That's pretty good. I just wanted to thank you again. Obviously, I'm going to see you again. We're going to keep seeing each other's faces, but you know, thank you so much, TJ, for everything. I also want to just kind of give a special thanks to like everybody that's helped us this far. You know, my family, Susan's family, our friend Dave Ferreira, Max Seeger was one of the first people that helped us kind of get it off. Asar Rambo was somebody who helped us. Gordana, Pavle, Relia, Barack. So I just want to kind of give a shout out to all those people, because I don't think we would have even gotten to this point if we didn't have them. And we're looking to do more work with all those people if they're interested, obviously.
Takes a village, so you know, I can't take all the credit. You know?
Yeah, it takes a village for sure. And I'm going to make it up to Chicago this year for sure. So
absolutely.